Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Every game is a home game unless it happens to be in San Francisco at Valhalla because the Fever fell 88 to 77. And man, was that crowd behind that team. I told you in kind of the pre-game keys to the game that this is a team that you could never count out. And on paper, yes, we have more talent. We should win this game. But the reality is at the end of the day, this is a tough league. This is a league with a lot of parity, a lot of good teams that can win any night, and you can't sleep. You have to bring effort every night. Otherwise, talent won't carry you all the way through. Many teams are finding out this year, and the Fever are going through that roller coaster ride.
Real roller coaster of emotions right now. Just slam it up and crash and die.
So, with that said, I'm going to break down kind of the key things to this game. I'm not going to go through the entire thing and do a full breakdown, but I'm going to break down kind of the key points and topics that came out of this game that I really want to talk about, mainly seeing the reaction from the game, especially now that we've had a few days to kind of sit with it and process it. The first one is we need to accept that Clark is going to have bad shooting nights. It's going to happen. And the team has to be able to adapt to that and play around that. Now, she struggled last year with short rest games. This is not a new thing. She's coming off a quad injury. She still is getting into game shape, and it's really easy to see the 32 points against the Liberty and think she's completely back and forget that she was keeled over after, the first quarter or two, So I think that we just have to be able to give her grace, and she is learning to give herself grace because she's a perfectionist. She's grown up with high expectations, and rightfully so. And yes, we want her to play lights out every night, but sometimes it's just not going to happen. Sometimes you're going to have those off games, and we need to find a way to win when she's having an off game. We also have to accept that she's going to have the Michael Jordan treatment. It is very obvious that teams are going to focus on her. They're going to game plan around her. That doesn't mean they're going to stop her. I mean, it's not like the Liberty and the Sun and all these teams didn't game plan for her, and then magically Natalie Nakase has the secret formula and they stopped her. No, she had a bad shooting night, and teams are going to play physical. They're going to play up on her. The Golden State Valkyries, just to give you an idea of this game, a lot of times teams will make the mistake where they'll put their best defender, they'll put a JC Sheldon, they'll put a Pitbull and a Tack Dog, maybe one or two players, and that player that has to guard her will be absolutely worn out. They will, to the point where they're not going to perform well offensively. The Golden State Valkyries threw 7 different players at her. They were comfortable switching 7 different opponents. Like, a lot of people talk about Tiffany Hayes, and yes, Tiffany Hayes had a lot of minutes guarding her, but they rotated people, and they were happy rotating people onto her with that game plan to just send lots of bodies to wear down and absorb lots of fouls, because in this league right now, she has Jordan rules. They're going to allow teams are going to play physical until it gets called, and they're going to play most of the game being overtly physical until, the few instances where they get called, and if you cycle enough bodies in, then you're going to be fine. So the Fever, a lot of their offense, a lot of the way that Clark is playing is trying to beat that physicality because it's just going to be there. And you're not going to see it when those same teams play other teams, which is wild. But the reality is she has all the focus. And so teams are going to raise the level. They're going to raise everything because they're on the biggest stage. They get millions of viewers instead of, a couple 100,000, 50,000, whatever. They're going to get millions of viewers. So with all that said, I think that she had 6 good looks. They just didn't go in. She makes 2 of those. There's a completely different narrative in this game. Also, different momentum in this game if she makes any of those. Now, I think a key thing for her in a growth that I would like to see from her, as well as, yes, she's not a great defender consistently, and the help defense schemes that the Fever are kind of running to make up for that are good, but sometimes when they lapse on them, it looks really bad. Or we have to give up fouls, which also disrupts our flow. We can't play that fast up-tempo offense. But for her big growth moment is when she's on, she's fiery. She can lift the team. She can get the crowd going in Gamebridge. She can rally behind. But when she's in a place where the crowd's not rallied around her, they're Golden State Valkyrie fans. They're all sold out all season. That fan base rolls deep. And she's personally not performing well. She still has to bring that fire. She still has to energize the team as a leader. She has to help ignite them. And it can't just be when she's shooting good, and it can't just be when one goes in. She needs to do that regardless, because that our team flat. They looked flat. And the other big point I want to get into is the energy level. It's been talked about a lot. The team has kind of gone on this thing of like, they played really physical with us, we didn't respond. And then the next game, they're like, yeah, we played really physical, we showed that. And I think the reality is they just have to, they have to find that motor in them in an effort, because again, this league has a lot of parity. You have to have a motor all 4 quarters, or teams like the Golden State Valkyries are going to beat you if they can get momentum. And so 16-7 turnovers, not good. And even if you're not, it's not just that you give up points on the turnovers. Like, yes, that is like a sign of like a negative thing. But the problem is the loss of possessions, right? It's not just that you lose the ball and they scored off of it. Even if they don't score off it, you didn't get another shot on goal. You didn't get another chance to run your offense. You didn't get another chance to score points. And every time you lose that opportunity, that stacks up in a game. You know, having 8 less shot potential because of that is a big deal. Getting out rebounded on the offensive boards, give up lots of second chance points. That is what lets teams like this, that you should be blowing out of the water, that you should be able to keep that comfortable 12, 13 point lead and extend it through the game, have them chip back because you let them shoot 3 times in a possession instead of once, right? Outclassed Golden State Valkyries the first half for sure. And then in most of the game, they were in the game. They were finding little answers here and there, even if the Golden State Valkyries got on a run. And they were fighting all the way up until we got around the 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter. Aaliyah Boston got into foul trouble. She had to sit for a period of time, and she was very integral. And then, you know, we started to get abused. Donta started to get abused and some other stuff. And then the game started to spiral out of control. Lots of turnovers, lots of low energy, lots of players like getting confident on the opposing team, just starting to drive nonstop on us. You know, and lots of leaving Kayla Thornton open, which was one of the keys to the game that I made for this. Was we have to keep tabs on her, and we have to make sure that she is smothered. She is their Caitlin Clark scoring engine, and even though she got into foul trouble in this game, she found ways to be impactful. She found her 3 open threes, and she took them and she hit them, and she punished us. And that's on our team for having those lapses in this game. There's a lot of things you can forgive, but it's hard to forgive like giving up your number 1 assignment to let them get open looks like that. Now, all this said, coming out of this game, I want to be honest, like I have a little bit of a crush on the Golden State Valkyries. Like, I think that their branding, the ball hollow thing is brilliant. They're a team that basically they know that they're not going to have the same firepower as every other team in the league because they're expansion, because they're a bunch of 6 women. They have that chip on their shoulder. They're the consummate underdog, but they play just like they don't care if they're down. They're unflappable, and they will run at you 110% for the entire game. It's like creating a team of a bunch of Lexi Hulls and just like having them fly at you and brutalize you. Kate Martin's fadeaway in this game, like, I mean, it's one note, but it's a really good note. like she hit every single one I think that she took in this game, and she hit a great deep 3. Kayla Thornton, again, early foul trouble, but still finding a way to be really impactful throughout this game, getting to her spots, getting her shots. Carla Late, early on, hustle, nonstop, pushing the pace, jumping up into the stands. Like, just a lot of athleticism from this team when they're down players. Tiffany Hayes, super tenacious. She's not a player that I like. I don't love her when she mocks our team or she's hyping herself up, but like, I would rather have players that are hyping themselves up than players that just look flat and like they're deer in the headlights, and we don't have that energy and that pushback. That's the kind of stuff that amps up, like it amps up you, it amps up the rest of your team, and the Golden State Valkyries are that team. Natalie Kase outcoached Austin Kelly, like expected, but also like she's a good coach. She's proved it over and over again. There's a reason they have a similar record to the Fever right now, even though they have half their team gone right now. Like, it's very impressive. And I think the other player that I want to call out is Emmy here. Like, she, besides the two obvious travels, she was flying nonstop motor. She's another player that got the team's energy levels up, was a great rim defender, just multiple blocks on us, multiple times where we got a second chance. Lexi Hull got rejected, I think, twice by her. Like, not counting the time that Thornton put the ball in the back of her head, which was its own little special thing. But the team is it's hard not to root for. It's hard to not root for an underdog and a team that plays up energy, up tempo energy. But I think Amir is a player that the Golden State Valkyries cut during training camp. They have her right now on hardship because all these Euro players are out. She's a player that honestly, if I was the Indiana Fever, I would think about. I would put in the back pocket for later in this season when those players come back, when they have to eventually drop her, and we have if we're making a run, I think it's worth taking a look at her, mainly because she's another tall player that will give us length. She likes to run the floor, and she gives a lot of rim protection, which is something we desperately need right now. She's a player I'm going to follow and see if the performance she had against the Fever continues. You know, like her effort and her performance, because obviously Golden State dropped her. Now they have a lot of great other players on the team, which could be understandable. But I think it's interesting to me to consider her as an option again. As we get later in the season, you have the prorated, and we still have that 12th roster spot where whether we bring back Airy, whether we drop someone else to make room, whatever have you. She looked good. She impressed me. So I think that's definitely something we should look at. In conclusion of this game, the way my kind of takeaways are, I think that we have to realize this season again is a roller coaster. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be a lot of fun moments, a lot of twists, a lot of turns. And I think we also have to deal with the fact that we just have lacked consistency in this first stretch of games. We have had a lot of injuries. We have had Dewana Bonner out. We've had Coach White out. All those things just kind of affect cohesion. And again, when you're going into a tough stretch like we're going into, when you're missing legs, when you're missing players that can fill in. I mean, in that Golden State Valkyries game, Brianna Turner and Timpson still aren't seeing the floor. So if you have players that aren't ready to see the floor and you're running such a lean roster and we're about to lose Dantas, you know, it just really, really, really sucks when you see your team kind of lose the energy and lose gas down the stretch. And you look at the Golden State Valkyries and they're just next person up, go, 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 go. I think we need to give the team grace. They're giving themselves grace, but they're also, you know, word is from their practices recently, like there's a different air. They're mad at themselves, right? Because they know that they let one get away. They know that they underperformed, and they don't want their culture to be low energy. You can beat us up. You have to fight that because every team is going to come at us until we can prove otherwise, right? I'm gonna have a prep video for the Las Vegas Aces. I actually think they're super beatable. I think this is a winnable game. It's still going to be hard. Asia Wilson's back, but I think that the way their team's been struggling too this year. They've had a lot of upsets. I think the Fever can upset them even in Vegas. So we will see how that goes. And let me know down in the comments, what were your takeaways from the game? Did this kind of help you? Does this make you feel better about the game? Did this kind of give you a different perspective on the game? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. And I'll catch you next episode.